Let's say you're service connected for a knee disability, which causes you to walk with an unstable gait. You then develop a new issue, like degenerative joint disease of the lower back. Can you argue that your new back problems should also be service connected? Today, we are going to discuss secondary conditions and when they are eligible for VA disability benefits. So, Claire, what exactly is a secondary condition?
A secondary condition is a disability that results from a primary service connected disability. So you can think of this as a domino effect. There's an injury or illness that triggers a chain reaction that leads to other health problems that might not have been diagnosed or noticed in service. So the relationship is a direct cause or aggravation by the primary condition. And it's important for veterans to know about this because this can lead to increased disability compensation and higher monthly ratings for folks with secondary disabilities.
So you said either, primary caused by or aggravated by. Can you give us some common examples of typical primary and then secondary conditions?
Sure. So one common secondary condition is a mental health disability. So someone may develop depression secondary to their chronic pain.
Mhm.
You might also see complications of diabetes like cardiovascular, kidney, or peripheral nerve problems. Another common secondary condition is sleep apnea for folks with PTSD, or back injuries can cause nerve disabilities such as radiculopathy. Another common one that we hear about are diabetes or medications causing erectile dysfunction. There are also the possibility of secondary conditions from traumatic brain injuries like migraines. So, another thing that is possible to receive compensation for is a disability that is caused by obesity as an intermediate step. So, obesity itself is not a compensable disability, but VA considers it as part of a causal chain between a primary and a secondary condition.
So, for example, if a veteran has an orthopedic condition causes them to be unable to work out or be physical, they could then maybe perchance, gain weight, become obese, and that leads to some other type of condition like diabetes or cardiovascular issues. So, how do veterans know if their secondary condition is eligible for VA disability benefits?
So, the primary condition must be service connected, and you need a diagnosis of the secondary condition. And then you want some kind of medical evidence proving that your condition is proximately due to or the result of the primary disability. So, this generally means medical evidence that links the secondary condition to the primary service connected disability. Again, you're not required to show that the secondary condition was diagnosed in service,
Mhm.
since VA recognizes that a disability may arise many years after your service, but still could be due to that underlying service connected condition.
And I think it's important to note that it's not just direct causation, it's also aggravation. So it's
Right.
not just that A caused B, it could be that A irritated B, aggravated, made it worse than it already was. So, Claire, once a veteran thinks they have a secondary condition, how do they file a claim for it?
So, if a veteran wants to file a new claim for a secondary condition, they can use a VA form 526EZ, which is the standard claim form.
Mhm.
Or a veteran can raise their secondary disability during the pendency of their claim for an increased rating for their primary condition. So, for example, if a veteran has a pending claim for an increased rating for diabetes and they've developed erectile dysfunction, peripheral neuropathy, renal dysfunction, any of those secondary conditions, those conditions can be a part of their underlying increased rating claim for diabetes. And that's a good way to raise those conditions in order to make sure that you secure the earliest effective date that you can for those benefits. So definitely talk to a VSO, an accredited representative, us at CCK. We can help identify that relationship as part of that increased rating claim to maximize benefits. It's also important to submit relevant medical evidence and treatment records. And if you can obtain one, consider including a nexus letter from a healthcare provider to really solidify that link between your two conditions.
And how are secondary conditions rated? Are they the same or different from primary conditions?
So they'll be rated differently. VA will review the claim, the supporting evidence, treatment records, diagnostic tests, medical opinions, and they may schedule a compensation and pension examination. And they'll evaluate that condition using the assigned VA rating schedule for whatever that may be. So Diabetes is rated under its own code, and then VA rates something like a peripheral nerve injury under a different diagnostic code. So VA will assign a separate rating for any condition as long as it doesn't overlap with the primary condition, and then they'll combine them using VA map.
Hmm.
So if you have a 50% rating for PTSD and then develop sleep apnea secondary to your PTSD, you will be entitled to a separate disability rating for sleep apnea in addition to your PTSD rating, which could raise your overall percentage.
So we have old math, new math, which we're teaching our kids these days, and then VA
VA
math,
math.
not to be confused. Okay. So, in summary, if you have a secondary condition related to your primary service connected disability, you could be eligible for additional VA benefits. Just remember, you need to gather all the necessary medical evidence as soon as you suspect there's a potential issue so you can submit a well documented claim. As always, we recommend consulting with a VA accredited representative or attorney.